What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Wide Body Nation. With Tim Kuniskis taking over Ram as the CEO, what is going to happen with V8s and the TRX? And yes, I know you guys are saying the TRX is its final year, 2024, final edition, blah, blah, blah. Guys, let's be honest here. We're going to talk about three things in this video. And right off the bat, number one, how many times has Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram made a special edition or last of edition or last call or final year or we're only making this for 1 year? How many times? I could probably spend a whole video talking about it. 2018 Demon, Dodge Durango Hellcat 2021, final edition this, final edition that, blah, blah, blah. And some of those final editions aren't selling, whereas some of the things are, like the TrackHawk. The TrackHawk apparently wasn't selling well enough to keep making it, but now TrackHawks are worth a lot of money. So this is not a company that is written in stone. They have been changing executive. They've been changing a lot of people. They've been laying off a ton of people. They've been retooling plants, closing down plants. So really anything is on the table here. If it was another brand, I would be pretty skeptical that it couldn't happen. But in this video, we're talking what has happened, which I just told you. Basically, that they don't stick to what they say, and they just try to get you to buy every year. Two is the current Ram lineup and what it's missing, and current sales, because when I show you the current sales of Ram for 2024 versus 21, 22, and 23, oh man, do they need a V8 back. And then three, what is going to happen? Call them predictions, call them informed predictions, but I think they're pretty spot on. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you guys have not protected your Mopar yet, or if you haven't put a GPS kill switch on any make and model that is modern, highly recommend you check out Destroyer1320.com. I'll talk about it more at the end of the video, but take your theft deterrent, take your vehicle security seriously. And if you don't, then I can't really help you because I can't really unsteal your car. So with that being said, we already established point number one. Ram and Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram they're, I guess, good at sales in the short term a lot of times because they're like, hey, it's only year we're doing the Hellcat Durango. Hey, we're only making this many OG Demons, and this is never going to happen again. Oh, Demon 170 comes out. Up, 2023 Durango's out. Up, 2024 Durango Hellcat's out. Up, 2025 Durango Hellcat. Last call, and a lot of people are saying that the executives are probably going to push for another Hellcat Durango, which is interesting because the incentives on Durangos right now are crazy. They're even more than power dollars. But let's stop talking about the past. Let's talk about right now with some sales data that is from the past few years. So just recently, Ram sales are down, but from 2023 to 2024, Ram sales are down 19%. Number one reason is the no V8, in my opinion. Very close number two reason is that their prices are too high. You guys saw my video from last week. Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram over the past 5 years has raised their MSRPs on average by 50%. That is roughly 10% per model year, which means that if a truck like a Ram 1500 Bighorn was maybe, it just had the 5.7 V8, maybe with the Hemi e-torque, it's a Bighorn, it's got everything you need, nothing that you don't, $40,000 in 2020, let's say. 50% increase, that truck is now in the 60s before tax, tag, warranties, nitrogen, ceramic coat, all that stuff. So people are routinely paying 60, 70, 80 grand for really not that nice of a truck. And oh, by the way, maybe people could stomach that in 2022 or 2023 when they had some more money and when the truck had a proven V8 in it. But now, 2025s, all you've got are the Hurricanes. And is it a bad motor? Hard to say because we don't have a lot of high mileage examples yet. But it is not a proven motor. So the 5.7 is the definition of a proven motor. It just is what it is. It's just facts. And no matter if you're an executive or a green person or a gearhead or a big Mopar guy, there's certain things that are proven and that have been around for 10, 15, 20, 30 years that have just been refined to almost perfection. Now, with that perfection, maybe it's not the best MPG, but it's general reliability and plenty of support from dealerships and from the aftermarket and from regular mechanics. Most mechanics can work on a 5.7. You bring a Hurricane motor in, 2025 Ram, bring that to a mechanic. Yeah, they can wrench on it, but they're going to be like, what in the heck is this? They're probably going to break some plastic off because that motor has way more plastic on a lot of the crucial components. And then you're going to have to pay to replace some random plastic pieces that are going to cost you an extra $300 for whatever reason. So, prices are too high and no V8. I think the Hurricane motor has a place in the lineup within the CDJR umbrella of brands. It should not be the only option that you have, though, especially on a 1500. In the Wagoneer, maybe. I thought it was great when the Wagoneer first came out. They had the 6.4 Hemi, and then they also had the Hurricane. It was kind of this blend because I would have got the 6.4 personally. But, you know, that is the way to do it, in my opinion. You got to give people options because then it's their choice of what they're getting, and then you adjust production levels to what people are choosing, and then maybe you provide incentives if you want to push people a little bit one way or the other. You don't just no more V8 in a workhorse truck, especially that like people who actually use their truck for work need. There's no one in their right mind who has a plumbing business or a towing business or any business where they need to rely on their truck. Why would they go from, a proven Chevy V8, a proven Ford V8, a proven Dodge V8, Ram V8, and then switch over to a brand new 2025 Hurricane motor and just roll the dice with their business on whether or not this truck is going to blow up or give them tons and tons of issues. So, you guys have seen the data there. Look at 2021 to 2024. Ram was selling almost 650,000 trucks back in 2021, selling all V8s. 2022, selling 550,000 trucks, which was a decrease. 2023, pretty much the same, about 540,000 trucks, only about a 1% decrease. Look at 2024. They are only projected to sell about 300 to 350,000 trucks, which is potentially more than a 20% decrease. I mean, just this past quarter alone was a 20% drop. And I haven't seen anything great as far as like, sales are coming back. Like, sales are picking back up for Ram. So they need to sell trucks and they need to make trucks that people want to buy, because right now people are not buying 1500s anywhere close to what they were from 21 or from 20 to 23. Now, where does the Hellcat motor, the TRX variant, come back in? Well, TRXs, it's only a few percent of Ram sales, but it is that halo truck that gets people thinking, well, maybe I want to buy a 1500 or a 2500 at a normal trim level, at a Tradesman or a Bighorn or a Laramie, and then in the future, maybe I'll trade that in, or maybe I'll buy a TRX as kind of like my fun little trophy truck. The reason you have these high-level cars is, one, profit, two, marketing. Those two are quite important. But then three, it's aspirational for people to get into your brand. They get into your brand umbrella, and then maybe they get a TRX later. There's plenty of people that got a Scat Pack and then bought a Hellcat and then maybe traded that Hellcat in for a TRX. Or maybe they just bought the TRX to tow their Hellcat around, or vice versa, whatever it may be. But if people are not buying Ram 1500s anymore and exclusively only going to Ram for work trucks or 2500s, 3500s, and the vans and all that, then they're not making the connections anymore between, okay, buy a 1500 Tradesman or Bighorn, then buy a 1500 Rebel, then trade that in for a Ram TRX, which is still technically a 1500. Yeah, yes, they have the RHO, but again, this whole no V8 option in the 1500 category for 2025 is just totally nuking that entire, pipeline, that entire kind of like customer farming, customer growth portion, the marketing. The RHO, I've watched videos on it where they take them on road trips, where they Baja them, where they're doing off-road this and review that. It doesn't seem like a bad truck, but it's not a top dog truck. It is a number 2 truck. This is why Ford has the normal EcoBoost Raptor and then has the Raptor R. I think Ram, as long as they get the TRX back in the game, the RHO is a great option, assuming it's priced right, which, entry level pricing is $69,995. I don't think it's a bad truck. If I were going to get one today, if I was going to get a 2025, I would probably only keep it for 2 to 3 years and probably 30 to May. I would get rid of it before the bumper to bumper's up. Let's just put it that way. That's what I did with my Raptors too. That's a whole nother story. But with my EcoBoost Raptors, they were 2019s. They started giving me little gremlin issues around that bumper to bumper mark, and I didn't want to have to pay for window motors or reflash the trans or just have to go to the dealership multiple times a year just to figure out what little gremlin is going on with that truck. So I think the RHO has its spot. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. The price is pretty compelling though. These are cheaper than Raptors. It's a good looking truck. It's lighter than the TRX, so there probably will be some appetite in the off-road community for this truck, assuming it's at least semi-reliable. And that's the biggest thing, the reliability. It's just unproven. I don't think it's the best idea to necessarily get a 2025. They've got some kinks to work out, I think. But if you get a 2025, I would get rid of it before the bumper to bumper runs out, either on mileage or on time, which presumably is going to be 3-year, 36,000 miles. Presumably. So to wrap the video up and get you all out of here. Can and should the V8s come back to the 1500s? Absolutely. If they don't, the brand is screwed. The only thing they're going to be selling is 2500s, 3500s, and vans. They need to bring the 5.7 back temporarily, probably for a year or two, and then they need to bring out that new V8 motor that they're allegedly working on, probably a smaller displacement with newer technology, potentially dual overhead cams. But that is the moral of the story here. You can't just shut things off and turn things on. You need to scale things down and ramp things up. Dodge is the ultimate example of this. They just shut down their moneymakers, the Challenger, the Charger mainly, and then they jacked up the prices, went crazy on that. They just shut it off at the end of 2023. And now they pissed off all their customers, so they still have some of those on lots. Over 3,000 Challengers and Chargers that are 2023s are still on lots here in December 2024. And then now they're going to cram the Dodge Charger Daytona or the new Dodge Charger, whatever you want to call it, down everyone's throat. And people are just going to gag and not consume it. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to lease it. They're not going to do anything with it. They're just going to go somewhere else. They're going to go buy a Mustang. They're going to go buy a used Hellcat. They're going to go buy one of the 3,000 Chargers and Challengers still on the road. If they want an EV, they'll go buy a Tesla Model S Plaid. They'll go buy whatever else they can than this new Daytona, because Dodge did it wrong. They didn't give people a soft landing and then make it cool to get into the EV or the hybrid situation. They just said, F that, this is the new way. And everyone's like, yo, no. TRX, should the TRX come back? I'd say yes, at least temporarily. 1 or 2 more years of the TRX, I think, wouldn't hurt anybody, other than maybe current owners, just because it would potentially depreciate the current ones a little more. But it's got to be TRX RHO, Rebel, Limited, all those mid-level trucks that are really nice. And then, your tradesmen's got to have the V8s and the tradesmen's. You got to bring that 5.7 back, and you got to have that TRX back, because that realigns the 1500s. And that's where you get the hundreds of thousands of sales that they're missing right now. Almost all their sales being down are based off just not selling 1500s. So that is about it, folks. If you guys have not protected your car, especially your Mopar, destroyer1320.com. They will pull your neutral release. If you have a 1500, if you have a TRX, we have the neutral releases for that make and model right here. This is it. It goes right over the neutral release. It is all set up and ready to go for you. Not a bad install, and it will potentially save you a lot of heartache, a lot of insurance shenanigans, insurance claims. Even if it's not your fault, it goes on your record for insurance. And if your car is getting stolen too much, it's going to be higher insurance rates. So that being said, jump on here, protect your Mopar. We have the TrackHawk GPS KillSwitch right here, which I have on my 2022 Dodge Charger Hellcat Red Eye wide body. And I love it. I keep it killed in my garage. I keep it killed when I park at work. I keep it killed, when I go down into Nashville or whatever it may be. Car shows, good to go. I could give someone my key and they still can't start the car if the kill switch is activated. And then the tracking is real time as well when the car is driving. So it just works out. You can set up geofences, all that good stuff. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Let me know in the comments below if you think the V8 is coming back to the 1500 specifically. And if the TRX is going to come back, all that good stuff. Comment below. Like the video on your way out and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there, and I will see you guys for the next video.